I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is A.A. Williams Melt.
For Revo.
Revo. Shout out to the big homie Revo. For tiny topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. Just got notification that our shipment is on the way for a special somebody in the village who will remain unnamed until further notice. But this person is pretty awesome. One of these, I want to like feature a villager every other day or so. I wonder if people allow us to do that. Anyway, there's multiple ways to get your song reviewed. My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in that Patreon. Now we do have different levels that get you different things. $5. Sori and I are actually in a band with other members of the village. It's like a legitimate bona fide band. Believe me, it's a legitimate bona fide band. We are releasing a song and a video. The first 40 seconds of the song are on the $5 tier. Me and my drummer are working on a instrumental-ish type thing for the baby. That's on the $10 tier, coming out pretty soon. And then we're going to do an actual watch party when the video debuts on Patreon. So there's all different levels and different access points on Patreon, things like that. Shout out to all the new patrons that have jumped on board. We thoroughly appreciate you and everything that you've done. So you pull your points together and then you're able to go ahead and determine what songs that we review. Now, if you're a filthy capitalist like Sori, and you don't want to do that, and you don't want to work with a team, then it's very, very simple.
Or you're just excited and you want to share something with the village and you don't want to wait.
You're excited, you don't want to wait. $125 at the gate gets you straight to the head of the line. You do that 3 times, you get bumped down to the $75 tier. If you've been on Patreon for 3 months, not 3 consecutive months, just 3 months at all at the $125 tier, please reach out to us, let us know. Also, push yourself down to the $75 tier. And then if you've been on for 4 or 5 months and you forgot to do so, just send us an email. We'll take care of you. Okay. That being the case, let's listen to A.A. Williams Melt. You sent me the lyrics? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. We'll put the lyrics in the description. These promises, they hurt and never ease. No, all of the lies you told. Choices will come back again. No, go into the night again. 'Cause I belong on my own, and just couldn't let me be. So precious, I know you are. In the end, you'll turn out fine. No, somehow I'll weigh down. hell.
Ooh, boy, that's a good one.
Why is it a good
Yikes.
one?
Oh, just, you know, when songs come on that just kind of draw your soul out and like it creates all this creativity in my mind, and like I could see dancers with it, and there was like different characters, and one was like this odd looking girl with kind of like hair that was kind of like to this length, but it was like her hair color was like an orangey reddish color, and all of her other outfit was almost like, it's a certain type of suit that was back I think in the 50s, but it was kind of like cut female style. And then she had these interesting shoes on, the one with the tips that were black, but they were like white, and they had like the black little buttons on it. And so she was doing like this dance during the whole thing, but then there was also this ballerina dancing at the same time, and they had the dances going on as it was going on, depending on which part of the song it was. And then obviously, like when she says fall into your arms again, like a guy comes from off the thing, and he enters the scene and takes part in that, but then she's back alone again. And whenever she's talking about being alone, that's when she's the character with the interesting hair. But and it's not very neat, it's like kind of messy a little bit. But I just thought, I think that, you know, sometimes when relationships end, you can kind of feel like that. I'm gonna pull up the lyrics for myself, but oh, that's right, they were here. You can kind of feel like that, like she's saying, let go of the promises, they hurt and never ease, and I know all the lies you told. I won't melt, I'm not afraid. These choices will come back again, and I'll go into the night again, because I belong on my own, and I belong with nothing at all. I owe it all to you. You just wouldn't let me be. So like it seems like the relationship is ending, and it's kind of like been a pattern for her, and so she's starting to internalize that and feel like, you know what, I'm just, you know, some people are meant to be alone, and kind of having that sort of, and the sound of the song and the way that she did her lyrics and musically, everything kind of felt like that sort of, like, you know how there's like one sound that's like the sound of self-pity, and then there's another one that's kind of like a slow acceptance, and it kind of sounded like, yes, self-pity, but it didn't sound like self-pity to me. To me, it sounded like more like just like this slow acceptance of what she found to be reality in her life, that, you know, it wasn't gonna, this is how she was kind of just destined to be.
Yeah.
And that's a sad line when she says, no, somehow I'll wear you down. I think that sometimes, depending on previous relationships and relationships that females have with their fathers, like sometimes there's something that's said to a daughter from a father that's extremely painful, and then she can find herself in a relationship and those words are used again, and maybe they mean something different, but they don't feel like they mean something different because she's heard them before, and it brings her back to that past. So when she says that somehow I'll wear you down, like she has this understanding that this is what it's going to be in every relationship she's in, because every time she's around somebody, she ends up wearing them down. But I think that the discussion that we had in the last song, what was that last relationship song that we did?
It was the Chris Cornell one.
Right, the Chris Cornell one.
The Broken Heart one.
Right, what was the name of that one? That one was called, in case somebody wants to look it up. Oh, Nearly Forgot My Broken Heart. When you were saying how, like, when you put too much on somebody else and then you expect certain levels of perfection from them, and then they don't live up to that, and then they fail you. So kind of like, is that what's actually happening? Or like, is somebody putting too high of an expectation on her, and then because of that she isn't going to measure up to it, and so inevitably she will end up failing? You know, perhaps if she was with someone that understood that she's not going to be perfect, because some people, like, they have this certain look about them to begin with, but you don't see all of them, and then if, you know, and I think that's kind of why in my mind, like, I was picturing like this perfectly put ballerina that fits all the molds of a ballerina, but she's actually that quirky girl. So, you know, if you get into a relationship with someone that doesn't understand that people are more complex than just what you see on the outside, and people do tire each other out and stuff, so maybe, I don't know. But it had a sad sound to it, but that kind of sad sound that is like satisfying to me, like when you're a child and you're pulling your tooth out and it's a very good feeling. Like I like the sound of this song, but why you're making weird faces? You're like, I don't even know what you're gonna say.
Well, I'm trying to measure my words properly here, but there are some people that maybe not forever, but that do belong alone.
Oh, I would agree with that.
And again, it's a very, very nuanced situation, and I hate to, in a 45-minute whatever, but a lot of this has to do with, obviously your own personal experience. Like this whole thing where it's like, I'm not a fan of manipulation, and I'm reading way too much into this song, maybe, but in my experience, when I run into people that say, "Oh, I'm just gonna wear you down and everybody leaves me," when they front load that into the at the beginning of the relationship, then it activates a sort of hero complex among the person, whether they're male or female, where they go, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that to you," and then it creates this very interesting dynamic to where, oh, everybody abandoned me except for you. Well, dudes do it to girls and vice versa. And then what that does is it opens up so much room for them to be as horrible as they want. Because if you finally say, "I'm sick of your bullshit," then they can say, "I knew you were going to leave." And then you now become like everybody else. And so,
yeah, I've seen that.
As I was listening to the song, I was like, because, I've been on the other end of that situation.
Yeah.
Obviously not with you, obviously, but like, and the other thing about this other person is like when this person says, "I need to be alone," they literally mean it. Like there's no like hidden meaning under it. There's no like, they literally mean
I'm not
that
like
shit.
that. I'm like, leave me.
Right. But see, I don't think you would never say something like this, "I belong on my own." You would never say that. I think you've got enough awareness to know that you...
It just depends on my space, because there are times where I thought this. There's a song that I really like where she basically says,
Yeah.
I'm no good at love.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on the
But
space.
you don't believe that deep down inside.
No, deep down inside, I know I don't want to be alone.
Right. And you don't believe that you belong alone either.
No, I don't.
Yeah. So, but this other person absolutely does. So, like, it's a strange... This review is very strange for me, because on the one hand, I'm like, this is some manipulative...
It depends on which side you're looking
manipulative...
at it. Yeah.
But I have seen people manipulate other people that way.
I know, I did. I saw it too, yeah.
And and here's the thing about manipulation.
It worked for a little while, and then...
Who are you talking about?
I can only think of her Facebook name.
100%. 100%. Yeah. That's exactly... So it
did work for a while.
It's a brilliant... You front load the thing.
And then the person is like, "Oh, let me be your hero."
Yeah.
But then it eventually...
Well,
and it seems
that person's
like
racist mother kind of sped that.
But it almost seems like it's more painful when they get to the end of it, because, like, it's hard for them to have to say, "All right, I'm not being your hero anymore." Like, so they have to really go a little harder.
Well, he didn't do that. That guy, he didn't do that. He was actually reaching out to me to try to find. He was like asking me for advice, but what he was really trying to do is get me to tell her that he didn't want to play baseball anymore. And I'm like, "Nah, bruh, that's all you, bro. That's all you, bro." But yeah, like so. Like, this can happen in both ways. Like, one, you could actually be a good person to be in a relationship with, and you can end up with somebody who's just so horrible and tells you and makes you feel so terrible about yourself that you end up saying, "Oh my God, it's just better if I'm alone." Like, you can be, like, screwed with, to that degree.
Yeah.
I kind of had that mentality, but it wasn't because, like, I wasn't because I was broken down mentally. It was just because, I had invested so much in myself in the previous relationship that I was like, yo, I got like nothing left to give to anybody else in the relationship. Just emotionally. And it's objectively true. You know, like, it's something where I've had to grow and build on it as time has gone by with me and you. But, you know, and then, you had a bunch of kids or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't, so there were some real practical, there were some emotional issues, but there were some real practical things like, I got a bunch of kids and they've just been through hell, and whoever ends up there, it's getting a package deal. You know what I'm saying? It's not, so it wasn't like, oh, I as a person, blah, blah, blah. Like, it wasn't that. It was just like, there were so many factors to where I was like, okay, like, I'm just going to be by myself. And I was at peace with that. Because, at the time...
I think you would say that. I never believed you.
Yeah, I was at peace with that. Because at the time, like, my priority was the kids. You know what I'm saying? And the kids were in a very bad situation, and they were in trouble.
Yeah.
I could tell that they were in trouble emotionally because, I constructed their lives in such a way as to, have them not go through what I went through when I was a kid. And so they were going through what I was going through when I was a kid, but they didn't know it because I kept that from them. And then all of it, collapsed on one specific day. And so they were unprepared for it, emotionally, because they hadn't built up that resistance. So, so I was like, okay, like, these kids are going to be in trouble, and whoever had the misfortune of being, I was in a particular situation that was taking up a lot of my time, and bless God, I was able to get out of that, and I was able to focus on the kids. And then, I had the other situation where I was traveling, sporadically or whatever you want to call it, and I got out of that contract. So, I was like, that was my mindset. Like, okay, this is going to be about the kids from now till they're 18, And so, like, I pretty much, that's kind of where I was at, you know what I'm saying? Because there was just, I felt like way too many challenges for a real person to actually have to overlook in order to be in an actual relationship. See what I'm saying? But yeah, so the song hit me in a lot of weird, like, ways. And the other thing was, I was very intrigued by the video. So I would read, like, a couple stanzas, and I'm like, okay, I know what she's saying. And then I look at the video. The video was like melting ice. That was really cool.
There was a lot of stuff melting glass. There was
melting plastic, things like that. Like, it was cool and disturbing simultaneously, and things like that. And
yeah, because some of it was melting beautifully, and some of it was not. It was burning
ugly.
away.
It was very ugly, very ugly.
Yeah.
Melting plastic and burning plastic is some of the nastiest things you'll ever smell in your life. So, like, so the song was really crazy to me because I'm like, they're like, half the song I'm like, that's right, you should be alone. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like thinking about that other person.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I'm like, yeah.
Because we're on the beach. I'm like, yeah, I think she just needs to be alone. Like,
yeah. Because
it's so crazy where it's like, yeah, like, I'll watch a show with you or something like that, but this person would just, like, couldn't get over. But, when you have borderline personality disorder, like, that's one of the big things, is that you create situations because of the fear of abandonment, because you want to control the rejection. So you do all those things, and and I knew kind of the situation, but I was, you believe that the power of your love is going to overcome that, and if you do that for a decade, then it's going to be clear, and it just doesn't work out that way. But you can't be mad at the person for not being able to be convinced of that.
How does that connect with watching a show with me?
Because, no, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the other person. Like, as far as a relationship goes, I think she would do good, like, if she had some sort of friend. Was,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Because, she just can't get over it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, I don't know. It was just a very, very weird experience listening to the song, because I'm on the one hand I was like, yeah, you should be. Then on the other hand I'm like, yo, I can totally relate to that. Then on the other hand I'm like, oh man, this person felt that way. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, it's not true. But then I'm like, well, no, it is true. Like, it was just it's very, very weird. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's human beings are so complex, and anybody that thinks that things are that simple is just not paying attention. Mm-hmm. You know, it's there's so many paths you can go down, like, to where you go, okay, like, what would convince you that that wasn't true? What would you need to see? So many
times that you weren't meant to be alone?
Yeah. Like, if somebody said, no, that's not true, like, what would convince you that that's not the case? Because I don't think that most people are meant to be alone. I think, you know, the famous phrase, in the, you know, it's not good that the man, it's not good that the man should be alone, you know.
Oh, that famous one.
So, like, that right there is like, okay, like, that tells me in the main there's somebody for somebody. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the basic design. So,
yeah, I mean, I just think that
it's a tough situation.
I think that, I mean, you were unconvinced, right? You thought that you were going to be alone and everything was going to be perfectly fine. But then, you know, I came around and it was kind of like, oh, well.
Well, when a person does that, and that's why I could relate to the song, like when she basically says, you wouldn't let me be. Mm-hmm. I think that's like a resentful statement, because once you cross that line into your mind and you go, okay, I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. On the one hand, you might say, oh, it sucks. But on the other hand, there's like a certain peace to it. It's like accepting your death. It's like...
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I understand.
I had one situation in my life where I'm like, okay, I'm in a lot of trouble. And I'm going to die. I'm going to die right here.
Wow.
And I was, you know, like, physically, I was dying. And then, you know, stuff happened. I'm here. I was a little bit disappointed, but it wasn't like disappointed like I wanted to die, because I'm like, shit, good, now I get to go home and see my kids. But I was just disappointed because it takes so much to work yourself up to get to the point where you're at peace with that it's like, you know, like, oh, here, you know. So when I had, like, made that peace with, like, solitude, I made peace with it. I said, that's okay.
Yeah.
And somebody comes in and, like, interrupts that. It's like finally getting to sleep if you're an insomniac. You know what I mean? Like, finally going to sleep if you're an insomniac, and then, like, lo and behold, there's a new Korn song. Now you have to get out of bed and listen to that shit.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, damn, I just found a way to, like, finally, like, pass out here, but now there's this Korn song. So you're almost, like, resentful of something that you're enjoying. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like that. It's like,
really?
I worked myself up to the point where I was, like, really at peace with this concept. And then, you know. So it's a kind of like a resentful, you wouldn't let me be. I owe it all to you.
That's so weird. I would never imagine that. So you kind of, like, resented me a little bit because you started falling for me?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Because I was like, oh man, this is going to create a whole bunch of, you know, whatever. And I don't mean, like, complications. I don't mean complications from the silly people who had no fucking clue what they were talking about. And to this day, you still don't, you dumb motherfucker. But I'm just talking about, like, just the complications of what relationships were going to mean and things like that.
I can see what you're saying. It's just a very shocking thing to hear.
Because when I read Augustine, like, the brother was happy. He was genuinely happy. Augustine, he was genuinely, and he abandoned his kid.
I was like, he abandoned his kid.
He abandoned his kid. He was genuinely happy. He was doing all the blah blah blah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to abandon my kids. So I can't rock with you there, Augustine. But the alone thing and all that, it's cool. Like, I've lived a bunch of lifetimes. I've lived a bunch of lives. Believe you me. One of these days, if I make it to 60, I'm gonna write a book, and nobody will believe it. And that's it. Because you know what the thing is like, people can't keep quiet about things. You know what I mean? Like, Like if you went to the moon on some whatever, like, and they swore you to secrecy and they give you $1 billion once you hit 60, like most people wouldn't be able to make that. You'd be like, yo, son, I went to the moon. So you wouldn't be able to do it. But anyway, yeah.
You mean that at 60 you would be allowed to then say it? If someone said, all right, you went to the moon, you can't tell anybody until you're 60.
Right.
Most people couldn't wait till they're 60.
They wouldn't be able to do it. Because it's such a monumental thing, like people want to be able to say that they did X, Y, and Z.
You know what, to be honest with you, I feel like I could keep it quiet from everybody, but I would never be able to keep it quiet from you.
That's just you manipulating.
That's not me manipulating. That's the honest truth. You think I would tell everybody else?
No, but
And you think that I could keep it from you?
No, I just think that subliminally, that's basically you saying, hey, you should,
No, it really wasn't.
If you really love me, then yeah.
It really wasn't. It was just, I don't think I could do it. Do you think I could? Be honest.
No,
okay then.
I don't think you could.
So why are you acting like it's some manipulative thing? Do you think I could keep it from other people?
Yeah, I think you could.
So you agree with me?
I think you could now because you don't trust people.
No, I don't trust them.
You don't trust people now. So.
I've seen too much now.
But I trust. See, that's the difference. You don't trust people. I trust people.
You trust them to do what you know they're going to do.
I trust them to be who they are.
I knew it.
I trust all you motherfuckers. Yeah. So it's a very. This song is a very, very deep song. Usually I say I'll never listen to this song again, but I'm actually gonna listen to this song on loop a lot. I'm gonna listen to this song a lot, and I think that you're not gonna like the fact that I listen to this song. I don't think you're gonna like that I listen to this song a lot.
Well, I didn't think about it until you just said that, and you're probably right, because then I'm going to be like, oh, well, so you're thinking about her?
See? And it has nothing to do with her. It has nothing to do with her.
It has to do with you?
It's me. But it doesn't matter. Look, it doesn't matter. What do you get the song?
No, I'm literally thinking about, I would listen to it too, but I like to do this kind of weird thing, where when I take a bath, I like sink under the water and pretend I'm going to just drown.
Yeah.
And I like that feeling.
That's great. You don't do that while you're pregnant, do you?
I always do it.
This is what I deal with here.
This is the type of song I would listen to.
Sin is its own punishment, though, because that's all moldy and shit in there.
I know, it's disgusting. So. I hate that tub. It's very gross. Yeah. But I had to just stop thinking about it because I was feeling too, like, I just felt like I shouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah. What do you give the song?
Oh, it's a 10 for me.
9.5, 9.5. Very, very good song. Very good song. I really appreciated the song. Good
but
song.
If it makes you think about her, I'm giving it a 6.
What's the artist's name?
A.A.
something? A.A. Williams? What's it? A.A.
I didn't expect it to be a girl.
Me neither.
And then when it started,
I like that vocal style, though. I gotta tell you.
Me too.
Let me see her live. Let's see what she does live. Does she do anything?
I feel like that's a pretty easy vocal style too to copy.
Yeah, I bet you anything that she practices a lot.
Probably.
So she's like always on rhythm and stuff like that. She practices. She doesn't have to like have a phone with the lyrics that were written like 2 months ago. So that's like
she probably doesn't have 6 kids.
It's like 60 days.
Look at her. She's all skinny and shit. She doesn't have 6 kids. Look at that.
Look, exactly. She looked exactly as I thought she would. These tortured people, they're always so brilliant. It's unbelievable. Look at that pedal stand. Look at that.
I know.
Look how many pedals she has.
That's crazy. But look at that. You see all those plants in her house?
That's
she doesn't even have one kid.
That's what I intend to do.
If you had one kid, they'd destroy those plants. You can't have nice things like that. It's made out of bones. Her necklace.
Yeah. Oh, she's a Deftones fan. Is that her?
You know what that kind of reminded
exactly
me of?
like her. She's a Deftones fan.
You remember that song that you used to like to listen to?
What?
It was I'm So Happy, So Very Happy, but she made that's similar.
Yes. Oh. She's doing Be Quiet and Drive. That's a Deftones cover. Okay. I want to see you do this live.
She could do it live.
What do you know about it? How would you possibly know that?
I just know.
Yeah, I don't even see her. Look, see, there's not even a live version of this song. So how do you know about it? Anyway, we have to leave. Vin out.
Story out.
Go.
Let go of these promises. choices will come back again. I'll go into the night again. 'Cause I belong on my own, and I belong with nothing at all. It all to you. You just couldn't let me be.